Hello, YouTube. It's me again. So, week 48. I'm sitting at home Monday morning, nothing to do. So, first, my update for last week. I got Monday, I sat for about 7 hours waiting on a load and finally got one. We took it to Alabama, I believe, and then dropped in Alabama and had a run picking up in Tennessee to drop in Florida for a live unload. So that was maybe about 800 miles or so for both those trips. So I got to Florida. They wanted it. It was actually a Wednesday 11 a.m. delivery. No, Thursday. It was a Thursday 11 a.m. delivery. I picked this load up. So when I left Monday, got there like Tuesday to drop the load, and grabbed my load Tuesday and went halfway to Florida. And then the next day I went down and took the last, I didn't even get halfway because it was like an 8-hour run. I went about 2 or 3 hours because, they wanted me to sit off of my clock. Well, they didn't tell me that, but they're telling other drivers that. And I'm not doing that. I'm not going to run past a certain time of day, with parking being a problem sometimes, and the fact that I just don't run that late. I get up early in the morning. It's unavoidable. It's the way my body's been programmed the last 2 decades. I've gotten up at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning every day. So if I'm not up with an alarm by 5 a.m., I'm up with my body by 5:30 a.m., sometimes 6, unless I'm in my own bed, and then occasionally 7 o'clock when I really sleep in, if you want to call it that. But anyway, so they had it set for me running and getting there at, 6 a.m. the day before delivery, which was scheduled for 11 a.m. on Thursday. Needless to say, so I drove the 6 hours left to get there because I only drove a couple hours. I want to make sure I had a good spot and so on on Tuesday evening. Drove down there Wednesday morning. I spoke with my DBL before I signed off, and he said, "Well, get with me back on Wednesday morning. We'll see if you can deliver it early." So I drove. Actually, I don't even think it was 6 hours. It might have been close to that. And it was in Palm City, and in Palm City, there's no place to park. One of the guys told me there's a Walmart, Home Depot. There's a Home Depot down there that you can park at. That, I don't know, is somewhere over there, and there's no place other than the truck stop. It was like 231 Plaza or something like that off of 231. It has it looks like it's about 20, might be 20 spots, but that's if everybody parks properly. And y'all know if you've been in the business, you know how that goes. There's no lines on the lot, so if one person is parked to double park, then you're losing a spot right there, and nobody wants to park close to anybody, and then you got issues. But anyway, I pulled in over there. I think it was like 9 o'clock, 8 o'clock. It was about 8 o'clock. I pulled into that stop because it was 30 minutes from my drop in Palm City, and called the DBL, and he asked where I was, and I told him. I said, "Well, I'm about 30 minutes out. I figured I'd stop here just in case I don't get to finish going all the way in. I'll have a place to park because Florida fills up fast." So he called me back and said they'll take you anytime today as soon as you get there. Or he called me right back. So I booked it on down there, and I was in the door, and this was a small lot. I almost had to blindside it, but I was able to back it blindside and then point my rigger the other way, and then not blindside it. And I was the only one there. There was 2 little box vans there in the other 2 doors, so it wasn't that big of a problem getting in the hole. Got in there, got unloaded. The Qualcomm said it was not Qualcomm. The note said it was a 3-hour unload. and it almost was a 3 hour unload. And it was the parts it was were pallets, like really small pallets, and they were double stacked. So they had to down stack the pallet in the truck and then pull it off the truck. And it was a light load, but a lot of pallets, especially once they got to the front. So took them about 2.5 hours. Got it unloaded and booked it back to that truck stop because I don't know. DBL told me there's no freight down there in Florida. Well, of course not. I mean, I never have any luck when I go down to Florida, regardless of whether or not we're busy as company drivers. So I booked it back over there, and I sat for like 20 hours, man. I got there. It must have been 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I think, maybe. And he told me just reset my NAT for 4 a.m. in the morning, or reset my NAT for the morning like I usually do. So I reset it for 4 a.m. and I didn't clock in. Usually I'll sign on by 6 because I'm not driving after 8 p.m. I don't do that. I mean, I'll get up 3 o'clock in the morning, but I'm not going to drive after 8 p.m. It's the way I am. I mean, you do your way, I'll do mine. Some guys don't mind driving overnight, but the way my body works, I know that it's not going to cooperate with me, and I'll probably have to stop anyway. And can't drive tired because that's just not the smart thing to do. So anyway, sat there for about 20 hours. They finally gave me a load, basically taking me home. I went and picked up in somewhere in Georgia, about 2 hours from the truck stop, northwest of around northwest of my location, and going to Waycross. So I picked up the load. It was over on the tandems, the rears, and they were basically locked up. So I went inside. I didn't have a hammer. I lost my hammer. I think I left it on the back of one of the trucks and it fell off. I don't know, because I can't find my hammer anymore. I beat on it with a pair of vice grips, using it as a hammer, and that didn't work. I mean, I kept rocking it, and it was refusing to go all the way in. It would inch its, well, it wouldn't even inch its, it would millimeter its way in the hole. So I could tell it was moving. It just wasn't moving very fast. And a yard dog came up, asked him, "Hey man, you got a hammer in there?" "No, I ain't got no hammer." So I went inside and talked to the lady. I said, "Well, I'm over on the rear. I can't haul this load. Not in Georgia. It's not going to work." I mean, it was 35.5 or 36.5. So I needed to move it 8 holes back to get it where I wanted to feel comfortable running it. I mean, 8 holes forward. Yeah, I'm sorry. It was over on the drives, way over on the drives, not the rear. I would have rolled it the other way because it's Georgia. But, you know what I mean. So, anyway, I told her, I said, "Well, I don't have any oil. I don't have a hammer." And she said, "Hang on a second." She asked the yard dog if he had oil on his truck, and she said, "Sure, I got oil on my truck. He can go get it." She's like, "No, you go get the oil." So he grabbed the oil for me. It was a jug of diesel oil, and if y'all have ever used that and gotten it on your fingers, you know that stuff stinks. I don't care. I mean, it's part of the job. So I got it and put it on there, and had to stick my finger in the hole. The thing was almost empty, so I had to. I got it to work though. So I oiled all 4 of those pegs real good and rocked it a couple more times, and sure enough, it finally decided to go in, and I got it, moved it all the way up, and it was at like 33 on the drives, 33 on the tandems, and my steers went down a little bit, so it spread the weight out a little bit differently than I planned. It was like 33.9 on the drives, and I can get away with it, about 34.5. I mean, but it was good. I didn't like the way it was riding, but it was good. So I booked it all the way back to Port Wentworth and parked because they had given me. Now I dropped the trailer, and then they gave me a pickup empty assignment around the corner. I passed this place a while back. We had picked up there before. They used to have quite a few of our trailers there, and I don't know if they went out of business or what at some company, or if they changed hands. It's one of the companies up in that area, in a warehouse district area off of one of the parkways. So it was the last empty on the lot. I grabbed it, took it back to the lot, and parked. And I decided I wasn't going to go home because, I mean, they had another assignment for me the next morning. It wasn't picking up, well, actually, the next morning, next afternoon. It wasn't ready, supposed to be there until 1 o'clock. So I had spoken with my DBL, and he said, we'll see if we can just do whatever, get ready in the morning, and we'll do what we can, see if we can get it out of there early. And he basically told me that was my last trip load before I go home, which was fine with me. But, sitting there for hours, I figured I'd stay there because I would have drove 150 miles in my car going home and then coming back and then going back home. So I would have had an extra 100 miles just so I could sleep in my own bed. And I said, I'm not doing all that. I'll just stay here for the night. Hung out there, and we decided that I was going to go in early. He couldn't get a definitive answer. He said, and then after a while, he said they were all booked up and they didn't have time to unload me. So come 11 o'clock, 10:30, he said, just leave in 30 minutes. Show up there. So I got there at 11 o'clock. And they graciously took me in. So being polite helps people. It really does. Yeah, I went in there, and she said she'd call me when they were ready for me. They ain't got nothing for me yet. Asked me where I was parked, and I told her, and she's like, all right, well, it's because I wasn't blocking their roadway. She said, just make sure you're not blocking the road. She said, where you at? I said, I'm over there at the stop sign, just chilling. She's like, all right, well, just wait there. We'll call you. And she came walking out within 5 minutes, said, just go get in door 23, 43, whatever it was, something with a 3. So I went, opened it up, backed up, slid my tandems, and got unloaded within 20 minutes, 30 minutes, something like that, and booked it back to Port Wentworth and went home. And then I saw some of these guys, and that was it for my week. So it was a really crappy week. My settlement's going to be like $550, so I ain't making jack this week, okay? And that happens. I understand. I mean, there's weeks where I've made over $1,000, over 800, over 900. And my base still is averaging 850. So for those of you that aren't here and are coming, you're going to have really bad weeks. You're going to have really good weeks. Do not blow all your money on the really good weeks. Keep a backup. And if you do blow all your money, have a backup credit card or a backup financial person like your wife or your relatives that can help you when the money gets tight. Or do like I do, pay your bills 2 weeks in advance. That way when you have a hard week, things are taken care of. You ain't got to worry about it because your bills might be $200 for that week, $300, $400 for that week, but your bills have already been paid. So if you're getting a $500 check, it's still money in your pocket that you can stick away. And yeah, it can cause problems, but you just got to learn how to roll with the punches. I always pay my stuff in advance. I mean, when something like this happens, I know next week I done paid my credit card bill. I done paid my phone bill. Next week I got a loan payment. I mean, but and the loan payment's only $70. Now, if I rolled everything into one, like I would be, like if everything happened in 1 week, like next week, if I hadn't paid everything in advance, I'd probably have $250, $300 in bills, and I wouldn't have any other money to buy groceries or anything. But since I paid everything in advance, I still got money to spend, and I can even go out to eat if I want to. Y'all just got to know how to use your money wisely. And if you're just starting out, there's not a lot of people that are going to hire you. A lot of the good companies, like I said, I don't know if I said this before, I'm sure I did because I run my mouth a lot, 2 years experience. I found some that got 1 year experience, and they're good paying companies. But I did find a mentor for the IC program on another note. He's a really good guy. Big Rig CEO. Look him up on YouTube. He's got some good advice. I'll tag one of his videos. That way y'all can look at him. He's an IC. He's been driving for, I think he said 15 years. and he's been an IC with us for a little while. He worked for KLM and didn't make as much as he's making now, etc., etc. But he's going to help me out. So I'm going to roll. I'm going to get that IC program, and hopefully I'll get my foot in the door there. Because some of the guys were saying that they're going to start limiting the number of ICs they take in. And hopefully I'll be able to get in before they limit the ones that have small credit problems like me. I don't have a huge problem. I mean, I just got one thing chasing me that I thought was going to be clear this year, but it's not. So that's the way it goes. So once I get in there, I'll be able to start the business going and invest in the other opportunities I'm looking at. And I'll divulge more of that later on. Part of it is charity work. I'd say a good 10-15% of what I want to do is charity work. It'll help out a lot of people that need help. I don't like seeing people struggle. I mean, if you got yourself in the situation, that's all well and good, and you need to learn how to manage your finances and stuff. But if you're, I mean, we got people out there that are starving. We got people that are supposed to be supported by the government, and they're not. And they're giving everything to the immigrants, illegal immigrants, instead of helping out the people that actually made this country the way it is. So I got nothing wrong with immigrants. My mother was an alien. She was a legal alien, okay, not an illegal alien. She went through all the proper channels, unlike what other people are trying to do right now. But I'm not getting into that. This isn't a political channel. This isn't I'm just not getting into that because I'm not interested in stirring the pot of bees. You know what I mean? I mean, you have your opinions. I got mine. Some of the most unintelligent people have the most biased opinions as to what has caused everything and where this country is going. I will say this much, though. Socialism is not what you think it is. It's not something we need. And Venezuela is not the only country you need to look at. There's a lot more other countries that did that. But I'm not getting into that. I will not get into that. Anyway, so that's it, I believe, for... Oh, so this week, I will say this much this week. I was told to take Monday off because I'm going to help some dude run his route for 2 days down in Florida. It was a load I picked up before down there, running to Waycross. Waycross? That's this week. So last week wasn't Waycross. Last week was something else. Anyway, today's off, so I can wait on a relay that's going to take me down to Florida tomorrow because I got to run his load on Wednesday morning and drop it Wednesday afternoon. It's basically a one-day load. And then I don't know what's going to happen. I presume I'm going to get another crappy mileage week because, freight is soft. But roll with the punches. Another 2, 3, 4 weeks of this and freight should be picking up for company drivers. That's what they say. I'm ready for it. Ready for the business to roll back in. Ready to roll and make some money. Although there's some guys on there that supposedly already making money and have been making money and bring home $1,400-$1,500 a week as a company driver. Like I said before, I don't know what you're running. I don't know if that's in my area. I mean, only dedicateds I know in my area that would pull in anywhere close to that is Target and Viracon. So, but I don't know. I really don't know. You guys, if you're looking to get into this business, wait a few more weeks. Business will pick back up. Things will be going good. As far as the recession, I don't know. Freight haulers are always going to be needed. Freight will always be there one way or another. But when you get 20 gazillion people in it, just like the cab business, it'll slow down, prices will come down, and then people will go bankrupt, and it'll pick back up. And Amazon getting into it, I really can't say whether or not that's going to be a good thing or a bad thing. Personally, a lot of people think it's going to be a bad thing. That CEO didn't get rich by not nickeling and diming everything like Walmart does. They all do it, and Home Depot does it too. I've worked in a warehouse that had a Home Depot come in there and said, well, we're going to pay this much to store our product here, and that's it. You ain't getting no more out of us. They all do it. Yeah, they gotta make their money, keep their shareholders happy, keep their stockholders happy, and turn a profit. Just like I'd like to turn a profit. So I will keep posting these videos. And y'all keep liking and subscribing and hitting that ring-a-ding bell so you get notified whenever a video comes back up or a video gets posted. Questions, anything like that? Don't know if I can help you. I can sure try. If I can't, I'll find a way. I mean, like I said, might be something that I haven't thought about before or pondered before. All right, y'all keep the left door closed and keep the hammer down.